Sorry, gentlemen, there was some technical hitch.
It's still
Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Experts Talk webinar on Addressing Workspace Challenges, the New Normal. My name is Manoj Nair, and I'm the president of Novel Office, incorporated in Dallas, Texas, USA in 1993, and commencing India operations in 2003 in Bangalore. We have pioneered the advent of co-working model in India. Starting off like a typical business center and co-working service provider in 2007, offering serviced offices for SMEs in the range of 1 to 20 people. Novel introduced fully customizable and flexible layouts in the market, which is our USP of our offering. We offer a mix of services ranging from co-working to business centers to small and large serviced offices from 10 to 2,000 people. With presence in two countries across 4 cities, our portfolio is about 1 million square feet and growing. Anyway, enough of Novel. Let's move on. On behalf of Novel Office and Space Metrics, it's an honor for me to welcome you all. Thank you for the phenomenal response. As for the last count, we had 452 registrations, and I'm told as we speak right now, there are about 200 plus attendees. I'm sure more will join in some time. Hope all of you are doing well and everything is safe with you, your families, and your near and dear ones. COVID-19 has engineered a total redesign of mankind's evolutionary path, something that no war, no technology, no revolution or leader has ever been able to do. It's almost unbelievable that a virus which is just 0.1 micron in size has brought to its knees the entire strongest powers of the earth. Entire populations, economies, and militaries are, at least for the time being, incapacitated. But Homo sapiens traditionally have always conquered other species by their cognitive capabilities. Given the human track record, I guess it's only a matter of time for the virus is overcome. In how much time, no one knows. Some experts indicate 18 months before a vaccine is available. Others say that even now, several promising candidate vaccines are in the pipeline. Drugs, treatment, protocol, medical services, social behavior, and policy options are being innovated and tried rapidly. In the meantime, the virus holds sway over 7 billion people. It's indeed a very humbling thought. No empire ever held humankind in such a total state of subjugation. The old world, people say, is gone. Everything we took for granted has come back to bite us. Health, environment, job security, relationships, so-called necessities, travel, transport, food, money, banks, entertainment, the list is endless. Everything is different and likely to stay so. And now, the main polluter, mankind, is locked in his own prison. The environment is breathing freely again and rejuvenating. Birds and animals are relaxed and happy. Everything being different is not necessarily bad. Uncomfortable maybe, but yes, more so because we are in uncharted territory. The history of us human race proves that we are not only resilient, but also adaptable, creative, and forward-looking. Therefore, I'm for sure convinced that we are on the cusp of a new era of evolution, and this era begins with a new world order. So how does all this translate to our office spaces and related workplace environment? That's what we are here to talk about today. So let's move on to the actual panel discussion, wherein we have 4 experts from the industry. Thank you very much, gentlemen. One of our experts actually is joining in about 15 minutes. 3 of them are already online. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming over and taking your valuable time and being on the Experts Talk panel. As you already know, our panelists are Mr. Mahesh Khaitan, Director of Salarpuria Satwa Group, Mr. R.K. Mishra, Non-Resident Scholar, Carnegie India, Mr. Devendra Gupta, Infrastructure Consultant, and Mr. Gururaj Raghavendra, Senior Director, Space Metrics India. I will be doing a more detailed introduction as and when I call each panelist to speak. Our first speaker this morning is Mr. Mahesh Khaitan, Director, Salarpuria Satwa Group. He has been at the helm of strategic planning and key implementation of projects since the group's inception. Under his able stewardship, the group established itself as a leading player in real estate, achieving more than 85 million square feet in 6 cities across the country. His expertise cut across the entire gamut of real estate and unrelented quality and innovation being at the core. He is responsible for identifying and growing new businesses for the company, expanding on its already robust portfolio. This includes the considerable growth in commercial real estate with several cutting-edge IT parks in Bangalore and Hyderabad. In Hyderabad, his foresight led to the identification of opportunities planning and implementation of some of Asia's best IT parks like Knowledge City, making Salarpuria Satwa one of the leading names in commercial spaces in the country. Mahesh ji, over to you.
Thank you. So good morning to everyone. And it's a great pleasure to be part of panels today and sharing the desk with Mr. Harke and with you, Manoj. And as you know that pre-COVID-19 era, actually, I could never imagine and getting back to my work. And last 2 weeks, I'm on my desk. I was sharing before, like my office was missing me, and I was missing to my office. And to getting back to work, like I could present so many different challenges today. Issue like when I come back to my office and same security guard checking my temperatures and maintaining social distancing as well as sanitizing, all are just starters. Most of offices layout we need like overhauling due to like basically due to need provide more space desk between office measures for distancing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Perhaps this will be drastic changes in the terms of all cubicle and HVAC systems, work shifts, many more. There are different times, and this is a difficult time. And since it's a very global pandemic, so it's a not like is one person loss. It's a everyone loss. It's a sometime when you feel one particular industry may not be doing right now good, and other industry might like to take advantage of that. But today is like entire globe is with a like havoc of the economy point of view, and India has its overall 1.3 billion population is left struggling to cope up with the strict lockdown and impact of the same on the economy today. With the economic sliding into depression, and real sector could be at the Midas sir some slowdown. Let me in this forum give my views on basically an impact on slowdown each segment of, and also point out the green shots on some kind of emerging it. To begin, I would say that with may not be our topic part of that. Residential segment, it's the most market, which definitely has come back to 30 to 40% already stabilized back. And while it's inevitable, large number of employees will end up the kind of working from home. This year would lead to such like a shift from home buyer presence also. To begin with this, some may choose to move further for peripheral location in order to buy large home. The demand for homes with study rooms and a big balcony, big open spaces, and even a residential community also with larger amenities, open spaces will be new norms now. While the fundamentals of demand remain positive, attractive, and since like interest rates already RBI has reduced 75 paisa basic points, and even the developers will have the attractive schemes and offers are already in market, and looming to fear pay cuts, job loss is expected to delay these buying decisions. This fear could push the demands for rental housing in short term. So it's a similar way. So like offices might have to sometimes come to business to the co-working concepts. As long as offices are concerned, office space occupiers remain optimistic about their headcounts, growth, commitments, as well as additional spaces. However, lockdown has forced them to most of them to hit the pause buttons, and many occupiers have postponed major leasing decisions. Some of them have gone ahead with RFE and signing the on LOIs on digitally also. They are also not likely to meet to each other today as on this situation. There are who are more positive and believe more like a headcounts would start moving to India. Hence, are planning ahead. Occupiers are keenly evaluating expansions, and they will need more space to accommodate same numbers of people, owning the distancing measures. The challenges of labors for supply chain disruption globally. This is expected to delay construction and fit out completion also. And which had seen morely 10 to 15% total office spaces observation last 2 years. In short term, with social distancing become a new norm, and most of offices densified till such times those changes have been incorporated in their workspace. This will be a need for alternate and readily available space. A number of companies will emphasize keeping costs under check. And finally, some may prefer offering employees workspace seats close to their homes also. Creating the immediate requirement of space, this requirement will help co-working segment. Many expect major consolidation in co-working space. Some small mid-sized players may have to wind up. However, for most prominent players, this seems unlikely, especially given equally and variety. Layout of the spaces being offering in most of cases differ hugely across the board. I won't be prudent for players to take out the another and spend repurposing the space. So it's a different view which keeps coming from each and everyone. This is my view. Over to you, Manoj.
Thank you, Mahesh ji. Thank you for your valuable views. There are some pointers I have written down, but I will come to that once we have had the other panelists also give their views on the situation. Thank you very much, Mahesh ji, for coming on board and giving your views. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker for today morning is Mr. R.K. Misra, a non-resident scholar of Carnegie, India. Based in Bangalore, he drives Carnegie India's Technology and Society program and engages with technology innovators and policymakers. His research focuses on the use of technology for urban planning and transportation, sustainable living, and the future of smart cities. He also plays a pivotal role in organizing Carnegie India's annual Global Technology Summit. RK, as he's popularly known, is a graduate from IIT and a postgraduate from Tokyo University. He's a fellow of Leaders in Development program at Harvard's Kennedy School of Government and a Global Leadership Fellow at Aspen Institute. He is the founding director of the Center of Smart Cities, a knowledge bank and repository of best practices in the area of technology-driven planning and management of smart cities. In 2006, he founded Sahyog, Indian Council for Public-Private Partnership, a pilot to policy social initiative to provide livelihood opportunities for rural India. A believer in building a corruption-free and transparent political system, he started his political movement, Now Bharat, to encourage the youth to get into politics and reform the current political system. The movement has now taken the shape of Now Bharat Democratic Party. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting to you Mr. R.K. Misra. R.K., over to you.
Thanks, Manoj. Thank you all. Our fellow panelists, the people who are on the call. I'm sure many of you would be having a deluge of webinars, given that people can't move, so they are. But I think it's also an opportunity because when you hear people, our own knowledge of the area and subject gets a little bit better and more refined. And when you hear experts of that field, and that's why I think I kind of agreed to Manoj's unavoidable insistence to be on this panel, because I thought it's a panel for the builder, by the builders, of the builders. But then it's always an opportunity to learn something, and I think that's should be the approach we should take. And I was very curious and very kind of happy to hear what Shri Khaitan has to say about the industry. I will give you a little bit, overall macroeconomic picture, because I deal with public policy, both at state and the national level. Little bit, I was also instrumental in writing the smart city policy way back in 2014-15. In fact, I had put this in the BJP manifesto in 2009, but then BJP lost. And then when they came in 2014, they called again. He said, okay, do something about it. So I'll give you why this was done. Smart cities are not about routers and Wi-Fi's. Smart cities, actually, I had not given the name smart city. I had given the name livable cities, but then the political leadership, as you know, they love nice words which are easy to rhyme. And I was overruled. I was told by the man, क्या मिश्रा जी livable वगैरह कोई बोल नहीं पाएगा, smart बोलते हैं. हमने कहा चलिए ठीक है. So that's why initially early days Cisco's and Dells of the world start running around the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development कि उनको लगा कि शायद we will be buying zillions of routers and laptops because smart for them in a developed economy, smart means digital and smart means everything on the fly. In our Indian context, smart is very different. And I think COVID has very amply proven that what we had, livable cities, our cities are not livable. And I'll tell you why. If the cities are not livable, India will not be able to survive and live and grow. So just some data, Indian economy, as you would know, is been growing pretty well, but you'll be shocked to know that 65% of that growth comes from the cities. Cities are economic growth engines. Of course, our forefathers had written, India lives in villages. India does live in villages. Unfortunately, politicians have used that slogan to assume that nothing needs to be done for the cities. And that is, they abdicated, oh, so we will do only for the villages. Unfortunate part is that villages, people only survive. I mean, if you are able to get 2 meals a day in a village, by the way, I come from a village in UP, district called Sitapur. It's a real small backward village, and I continue to engage there. I do a lot of social work there. I can assure you, very rarely, unless you are a Jamidar, modern Jamidar, where you have like hundreds of acres, you cannot survive or thrive on village economy. You only just survive. Now, cities are primarily the economic growth engines for very simple reasons, because cities accumulate in a very manageable area the talent, the opportunity, and the infrastructure. And that's a simple reason. A village can also have a fancy road and all, but then the mass is not there, the volume is not there. But cities put this together in a manageable way. But for the economy to move, mobility is very important. Correct? Now, if you're in a village, from your home to your field, maybe half a kilometer, 1 kilometer, or you can go to nearest market once in a week or something. Mobility is not the key aspect if you're in rural economy, but in urban economy, mobility is very huge aspect. And our cities are immobile, whether it is Bangalore or Delhi or Mumbai, they were immobile. I'm talking pre-COVID. Of course, now nobody is moving because nobody can move. So I think nature gave us a message that you guys have really goofed up on the mobility part. And if you can't move, you become inefficient. Now, Mr. Khaitan has buildings on Outer Ring Road. All his tenants essentially take 2 hours to reach their offices, correct? Now, which means 3-4 hours gone in a day, and that's essentially gone from their social life, from their quality of life, private, and also from their productivity. Second biggest aspect of urban India is housing. Housing is very important. We don't realize, and I think this migration has put the thing very squarely in the front and center. Cities are actually, we think we run the cities. We don't run the cities. It is the people who really work with us and for us, they run the cities. And the migrant labor has a very large role to play. An unfortunate fact is that locals don't work. A person from Kerala will work very hard in Middle East, but Kerala economy is run by Biharis and Odiyas. If you go to any Kerala restaurant, you will see, you can speak in Hindi very easily, no problem. A UP wala, due to lack of opportunity or for whatever reason, he will not work that hard in that state. He will go to maybe Delhi or Mumbai or something. So I think migration, labor migration is a very integral part of economy. And somehow we only use them as a resource, not as an asset. And that is coming back to haunt us. So I think when we plan our cities, this should be, in fact, if you look at the smart city, this, by the way, yesterday, that Durga Shankar Mishra, who's urban housing, urban development secretary, he also said the same thing. He happens to be a good friend and senior from IIT. And we've been talking about it, that unless we fix, imagine this is the great opportunity for Mumbai, given that Uddhav Thackeray controls both BMC and the Maharashtra government, to fix the slum problem of Mumbai. Correct? Mumbai, given this such high real estate prices, it is absolutely no-brainer that you can fix the slum problem by creating high-rise, and this will pay for itself. But it was not done forever. And by the way, COVID has attacked only cities where maximum slums are there, or people living in very congested localities. There's no other reason. Look at Mumbai, is the worst. Ahmedabad also is the old Ahmedabad area. Delhi also very congested areas, correct? So the cities which have really managed well are also the cities which don't have that many slums, because it is almost impossible to control this kind of pandemic in a slum. So I think this is another lesson for us, that how do we manage the slums in our city? How do we manage the mobility in our city? And Mr. Khaitan says, I think what I'm talking to my friends, and most of them are running these large MNCs and big tech companies, because that's my background. All of them are saying that it is not going to be business as usual after this. I mean, if you're lucky, TCS has said, who is the largest employer in the country in IT sector, that they are going to make 75% people work from home, because they realize it's doable. Actually, they always knew that it is doable, but they never were forced to invest, because work from home, you need an investment. I think millions of dollars have been invested in creating secure infrastructure, both the capacity to communicate as well as the physical laptops and all that. And India actually has done a fantastic job in making sure that around 80 to 90% of IT work has carried on, which is also a great achievement for a nation like ours. And I think we must be thankful to the Jios and Airtels of the world, which enabled this. If we didn't have the internet, we will not be doing what we're doing today, correct? So I think India has managed few things very well, but I think I don't want to go in further details, but I think we really need to, and I've been writing series of articles. Last article came on reimagining transport for Bangalore. The next is reimagining urban escape for Bangalore. Government is very keen to understand what is to be done next. Globally, people are rethinking how to design our cities, and given that all of you in this call are related to the cities, you might be making buildings in the city, but buildings are made in the city. So unless you think of your building as part of the city, as an integral part of the body, which is city, I think we will not learn the lessons of COVID, and the COVID has made us do it. So I'll just stop here. Further specific questions, if Manoj or audience has, I'll be happy to do.
Thank you, RK. Thank you very much for your views. It's always interesting to see a macro perspective of whatever the topic we are discussing about, because while there's an impact of office spaces and workspaces in one fashion, how does this fit into the overall macro structure in the socioeconomic head of the country as a whole is interesting to see. Thank you very much for your kind words, RK. While we wait for our third panelist to come on, we will now move on to the next speaker of ours, which is Mr. Gururaj Raghavendra. Guru is a senior director of Spacemetrics Bangalore. Speed and technology are two of the most important things that motivate and drive him in life, is what he says. He chose his career because he liked the idea of speed to reality in the design and implementation process, and is excited by the energy and speed in his field of work as a senior director of Bangalore in Spacemetrics. This passion has led Gururaj to be recognized as a thought leader with unparalleled knowledge of and innovative ideas in workplace design and execution. Guru has strong technical and design capabilities. The result of his architectural training and his business skills were developed through regular participation in business management seminars, international and national design workshops, and panel discussions at various forums. Guru has used his skills and drive to power a varied design career over the past 14 years. He has steered everything from workplace design, project and construction management, integrating engineering and technology into the workspace. And if that's not enough, Guru has specialized in sustainable green workplace designs and spearheaded innovative ideas to develop and use new products in workspace design and construction. He believes that by adopting new technologies, efficiencies will increase and we can build smarter environments. The recent projects of his success are Microsoft Campus, ITC Campus, LinkedIn, GE, Adobe, the list goes on. Guru, over to you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Manoj. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Firstly, Manoj, thanks a lot, for inviting me as a panelist today, and I'm extremely delighted. I'm sharing the, with my panelists, Mr. RK, Mr. Mahesh Ketan, and Divendra, who's yet to join us. I think he's already there on the call. So thanks a lot for the opportunity. I think maybe I will speak more towards workplace today, being as an SME there, and what actually we are seeing as the designers and more if I talk into micro level. So one is that I see that we need to learn and unlearn both. I think that's how we might have to think as of now. Few things what we are thinking that we have to protect, later recover, and as well as retool ourselves due to this COVID-19. And these are very particular strong statements that I'm making, that you have to protect yourself, that what you're doing. And once you're protected yourself, you have to recover, because there is certain things that you might have missed due to this pandemic situation. And then you have to retool yourself, because as you have rightly put the panel topic as the new normal. Yes, it is going to be the new normal that we all have to adapt. So that's what I see, so adaptability is going to be the most important thing for each one of us in whichever industry. What I am seeing, as in designers, as a contractors, as an industrialist, or anybody. So you have to be very agile. That's what I have seen that we have to be extremely agile enough to adapt changes. So we have to be very open. That's what I have seen that. So in the sense that what I would give certain examples within the company, we have almost 350 to 400 employees in our company now. We used to exchange greetings, say maybe on Diwali, New Year, Chinese New Year, whatever. But now it's not changing greetings for on the festivals. It's like we are extending it. How is your family? So there's something emotional connect is what this COVID-19 has brought in. That's one really good thing. And one more thing is the household thing. There's a lot of things that actually which we never knew in background what used to happen when we are all at office. Now we are hands-on to it, and that's the what's the struggle there. Now we all know it. So this is certain very micro level things that has actually happened, and which I find it's really good for all of us. Yes, there are larger issues that which Mr. RK covered and Mr. Ketan covered on the infrastructure part as well as on the government part. So how the governance is going to run, but for on the workplace front, how I think is there will be two categories that we might have to relook upon and say that and those two categories which I call it as me space and we space. So me is something that where I will sit and work, and we is something where we will all work together, right? So with this COVID-19, the new normal, how is that we are going to we are going to put up the new offices. It's not only new offices, but then how we are going to sustain in the existing office spaces. So, these are certain things that for sure, Manoj, I will be covering a few points on these today on the questions coming in later.
All right. Thank you very much, Guru. Just to thank you very much, Guru. Just to add a point of what you mentioned a little while ago before the webinar actually started, you would have heard Maheshji saying that if all the work which is normally unpaid in the household work category that happens, if all that gets monetized in some form, then possibly India's GDP would have gone up 3 times. I think that's really true. I think all of us have experienced in our own ways the kind of hardships that go on in a typical house and which while we work, we don't realize. Thank you very much for that, those views, Guru. We'd like to hear more from you on your views as we go forward. Our fourth speaker is actually Mr. You won't be able to say him because there's some technical problems. You know, they say that technology is like a tiger. Technology drives us in many fashions, but it's like a tiger. And when you catch it, you got to go with it. You can't leave it, because if you leave it, it'll come and bite you. And it'll keep. If you don't leave it, it'll keep dragging you into the jungles. So we have a small technical issue with having the video broadcast of Mr. Devendra Gupta. So we have got him on audio. We will continue. Let me introduce Mr. Devendra Gupta, who is an infrastructure consultant for NASSCOM and NIIT. A mechanical engineer having 33 plus years of rich experience towards infrastructure development, project management, contract management, procurement, and facility management, and has been associated with many organizations like NIIT, Ahluwalia Construction, HCL Technologies, Ranback Seas Laboratories, Dabur India, and Oswal. He has managed diversified projects, IT, ES, SEZs, software development centers, 5-star hotels, large residential complexes, R&D centers for pharma industries, just to name a few. The last association of Mr. Gupta was with NIIT Technologies in the capacity as Senior Vice President and Global Head, Infrastructure Development and Procurement. And he's been with them till March 2020 to venture into consulting and advisory profession, currently associated with various organizations, including NASSCOM. Over to you, Mr. Devendra Gupta. Please share your valuable inputs to the group.
Thanks, Manoj, for inviting me. Hi, everyone. I'm sorry, unfortunately, camera doesn't work. So, I mean, we have to live up with that. So, so my topic would be like how to, return to office. Like what are the, measures we have to take, because this pandemic has already taught us many lessons. That how to behave. I mean, people attitude, people behavior, has changed significantly because of all this. Whatever we are hearing, whatever we are listening, whatever we are experiencing. So now, see, when we are ready to go back to work, so one thing we have to keep in mind that as far as possible, we should avoid, going to office in case we are able to manage working at home. But if it is very critical for the organization, for the business continuity, for us to go to office, then we have to, go through various, precautions. So like when we make our office ready, so first, action plan would be that limited employees to be allowed at workplace with social distancing to take care of business continuity. Sharing of SOPs with the employees through emails, signing of undertakings, training of support staff, procurement of all PPEs, masks, shoe covers, headgear, screens, full body kits, sanitation machines, touch-free hand sanitizers, temperature scanners, and engaging expert agencies for sanitation, because they are the one who can take care of the facility in a right manner. So now the first step would be to sanitize the entire facility so that there is no chance of any contamination. Then all recreational facilities to be closed for the time being, so that there is no mixing happening for the employees. Then trained our all staff, including security guards, because who will be manned at the security gate. So they will be taking care of the sanitation of hands of the people who are entering in the office. Then we could replace our normal taps, manual taps with the sensor taps, so that again we are eliminating the chance of contamination. Then discourage use of elevators in case the building is not a high-rise building, but in case it is required to be used, then precaution has to be taken, like the limited people should travel in the elevators, and with the hand sanitizers to be kept in the lift lobbies, so that employees before and after leaving the lift can sanitize their hands. So social distancing at the workplace, at least 6 feet to be observed. So all workstation to be marked with their name and employee code so that, you know, people, I mean, employees who are entering the office, they can sit only on their workstations and they are not mixing with others. And then again, meeting whatever, I mean, if it is possible, virtual meetings to be placed, to be done. If it is important, then it has to be done in a large meeting rooms where social distancing can be maintained. Then provision of, again, when we are using rooms, there has to be, again, you know, limited access to be observed, like depending on the capacity of the restroom. Supposing if there are, you know, 3 wash basins available in the restroom, so only 2 people should, you know, access to the toilet at a time, restrooms at a time. And this can be managed by placing the, you know, security, I mean, housekeeping staff at the entry gate of the wash restrooms. So if possible, work without air conditioning, because air conditioning is again a source of contamination. If it is not possible, difficult to do that, then we should operate with the, you know, infusing more fresh air, because that is how we can have the least, you know, the contamination or the infection. Then again, the demarcation of isolation rooms has to be done in the facilities in case of, you know, if somebody, you know, gets infected, so immediately he should be, you know, isolated in a demarcated area. Then availability of doctors in large facilities and for small facilities, and again tie up with the nearby hospitals so that immediate action can be taken in case of any suspect, so that they can be contacted. And then again, risk analysis should be done to revoke BCP, like in case again after back to office, if I mean God forbid, if you know, any chance arises that we have to again close the facility, so what all, you know, actions we have to take to continue our business operations. So that should also be, you know, that is a very important part. Then again, you know, the employees register should be maintained, like I mean, they can maintain the, you know, the data on their laptops, that with whomsoever they are interacting in the office, they should maintain the records. So supposing if, you know, tomorrow, if or on that particular day, if there is any suspect, you know, case coming, so that you know, record can be, you know, verified that with whom that the suspect has, you know, contacted, came in contact, so that those employees can also be taken care of. Then transportation, again, that is very critical. So transportation has to be, you know, again, if possible, own transport should be used. In case it is not possible, then, you know, with, I mean, only 2 persons sitting in a cab with, you know, the mask and, you know, using hand sanitizer should be, you know, there. And again, the vehicle should be properly disinfected, and after use also it should be properly sanitized. So all those precautions have to be taken. And again, for the those were the short-term measures. Now, if I talk about long-term measures, like starting from up to 6 months, so we could you know, look into the installation of sanitation tunnel at entry gate, because right now it is not, you know, verified that which chemical is safe for the, you know, human use. So the people, I mean, a lot of innovations are happening. Very soon the certification will be coming. So then installation, use of tunnel will be, you know, very useful, because in that case you will be able to sanitize the human as well as the his belongings, like bags and other stuff, which will be very important to, you know, stop virus going inside the office. Then I was talking to one, you know, startup. They have developed this, you know, this battery operated masks. So it is very difficult to, you know, use mask every time or throughout the day, because you will feel suffocated. So now they have come up with the battery operated mask, wherein, you know, there is a small battery operated fan which is sucking the air inside and throwing it out, so that suffocation feeling won't be there. And it is washable also, so you can wash the filter anytime. So I mean, all these innovations are happening on day-to-day basis. And then again, shoe sanitizers will be coming very soon, as we have the shoe polishers in the office. So that should also be used. Again, auto temperature sensors. Now we can install temperature sensor on the door itself, wherein it can automatically detect the temperature of the employee entering in the premises, and it will be displayed on the display panel. And it can be integrated with your CCTV also, and the records can be maintained. Now app-based call buttons will be there for lifts, using lifts, so that contamination doesn't happen when every time you are touching the call buttons. Sensor-based vending machines could be an option to avoid contamination. Then modification replacements of workstations. Like workstation, what is happening if you visualize? Now these days we are using workstation without partitions or without intermediate screens or very less screen. So when a person is sneezing or coughing, so immediately a person who is sitting opposite to you will get infected immediately. So just to avoid that, if we raise the, if we insert the partition on both sides and opposite on the workstation, opposite side on the workstation, say up to 5 feet, so that chance of contamination can be fully avoided. And in that case, you can decrease the social distancing also. Like then people can sit on the next workstation without infecting the others. But again, air conditioning plays a very important role, because air conditioning has to be upgraded by putting very high efficiency filtration systems, and reliable methodology is putting the UV lamps, because with the UV rays you can kill the virus. So that is the most effective way to kill the virus in air conditioning. So if we have these two measures in place, like one is increase the height of your workstation, plus have the UV lights provision and a filtration system, definitely we can avoid this cross contamination at a very large scale. Then close office environment, because these days now we were using all the open office environment, because all the higher management, they were also they like to sit in the open office environment. But now I think it will go back to the closed office environment, just to avoid the contamination. So we have to look at all these things. Even electrostatic filters can be used in air conditioning to trap the virus and particulate matters. So all these measures we have to take really to make our workplace as a contamination free zone. And again app-based control access control system, then COVID certified SOPs, best practices will be the future. COVID certified facilities will be the future, as we have other certification for our facilities. Now COVID certification will also be important certification. COVID security compliance will be an important thing to do. Large use of cloud storage, because now there will be virtualization of the desktop and laptop virtualization. So definitely large cloud storage will be required. Technology like AI, machine learning, chatbot will be used in a very large scale. Cloud-based ERP SAP system to avoid the to handle the all these financial and all these reports sitting at home. Yeah, so upgradation of transport system, again, so we have to see what best we can do to upgrade, like in buses when we are using public transport, instead of just to reduce the social distancing, what all partitions can be placed in the bus or metros or in trains. So we have to work on all those factors.
Yeah.
So over to you, Manoj. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Devji. I mean, I think he's listed down a very large number of tactical steps which we can do in a practical manner to try and see how to make the whole workplace more, shall we say, COVID compliant. Okay? I'm sure that many of the office-based providers, I mean, we for one have been already incorporating many of these changes in there, and I'm sure that's what the whole industry will move towards, because COVID is not going to be going away. It's here for good. Okay? We have to learn how to live with it. So office spaces, which is a very large part of time that a normal working professional spends, okay, a very large part of his time actually gets spent in the office. How to make the whole office space more secure from a risk of the COVID is something that I'm sure all organizations and all stakeholders will be breaking their heads about. And since we have got, the panelists have been chosen from the 4 important aspects of the workforce, workplace environment today. Mahesh Ji actually comes from a very leading developer background. RK comes from a place wherein he's not only got industry experience, he's also got a lot of policy making experience. He's on many policy boards. Okay. Mr. Devendra Gupta has been on the infrastructure side like a user. How does the user view the whole thing? And Guru Raj has been doing a lot of projects from an interior perspective. Before I open up this to the questions, and thank you for a lot of questions. We'll try and see how much we can cover out of them. Okay. Interestingly, we have about 322 participants logged in right now. I have a couple of questions as your view section, the panelists. Mahesh, first for you. With the government mandated stipulations like 33% workforce in offices and social distancing norms, etc., do you see rent realization for office buildings being affected? Do you believe that rent per square feet as a result could either drop or could it increase because usage per person, usage of SFT per person will definitely increase? What are your views, Mahesh?
Yeah, always there's a perception basically that market will come down. It's always whenever any kind of such kind of pandemic comes, you remember like when the 2009, 2008, when the recession came and that all of the pressures started, like a market will come down and all. When we see that again, new kind of a boom in the 2012 onwards, and there's always customer perception always would be there. As you say that, yes, customer always king of the market, and today is giving the sitting in better position, and that's always will be mine. But always I can say that IT is concerned, they as long as you are within the less than $1 rate, they won't have much. As yesterday I was in one discussion, kind of the here rates, real estate rates are not much in India, especially the kind of talent what we have in India. That's the reason that all the IT companies are coming to India, not because of real estate. The kind of talent what we are getting in India at that reasonable price, that's the reason that they are in India. Not because of real estate is reasonable, cheap and all. Real estate is only one of the cost. So that's a, I don't seems like it might be short terms. They might be looking, yes, they might be asking, oh, the prices as real estate point of view less or more. As long as like a work from home is concerned, I'm in overall real estate point of view, I'm talking to you. When generally when we have a work from home concept, instead of 2 bedroom, I might have to require another 1 bedroom extra or 1 study room extra. So generally we say that for workstation, we cover around 100 square feet. Having another bedroom extra, my 400 square feet requirement will go extra. So as long overall real estate is concerned, definitely that as a business prospect point of view, it'll go up. But as a like a office, now as a Devendra is mentioning social distancing and all, earlier we used to manage within 70 to 80 square feet seat, one seat. Might have to go 125 square feet. So definitely as a demand will be remain same. Yes, I can say that a lot of infrastructure changes, as Guraj also mentioned that he's like a good kind of designers and where we work together many times with them. And so many things we need to cover. More or less, I can say Devendra today is what he has covered. All who are running facilities and kind of projects and IT parks. If they might have noted down, they don't require to go back anywhere. Those points are good enough for everyone. So to meet their whole requirement. So thank you, Devendra, for that all. I will take out of this meeting another one more call to you to learn from a lot of things from you. But being as a today office operators, we are running almost today is around 2 lakhs people are associated in our IT parks, and we don't seem there kind of demands are like for the reduction in the prices and all. But during this time, most of companies were like whose order has been either been cancelled or been kind of deferred. So they're expecting from us like a deferment of the rent or some kind of during this lockdown period. They asking basically some kind of relief they can give to them. So this is the what we are coming from the client perspective point of view. But as a long perspective point of view, we don't seem there's any kind of reduction in the rent. As you see that last 5 years, we don't seem there's a supply could meet the demand. Hardly there's any vacancy, especially commercial side in India. So we don't seem there any kind of major changes going to happen in the commercial prices point of view. Yes, there are definitely a lot of infrastructure we might have to look into, which is most of Devendra has already mentioned that. And being like office operators, we have to be careful from my associate when he exit from his gate until he exit he's out from our gate. We have to be careful and we have to monitor what basic transport he arrived, how when his vehicle is entering our premises, how that has been sanitized properly or not, how he is entering in our lobbies, how is basically social behavioring has been done. And we have to teach each and everyone. The guy's front who is standing in front of you, he has affected with virus. So the most of your problems get solved. You're not required to maintain, basically you are not required to guide. You have to keep in your mind that the other person has a virus. So automatically that feeling has to come in mind. So automatically social distancing automatically come in mind. I'm not required to teach each and everyone. When that comes in mind, automatically have the fear. Fear always teaches to everyone. So that fear has to come in everybody's mind. Yes, it's not that easy. We go with next 2 months or 3 months or when they say people are saying the vaccine will come in the month of September. We have to live with this. And when we marry with the problems are over. So when we all either he or she, when they marry with the people, so all problems are over. So we have to marry with COVID. So automatically the problem will be over. So this is what my point to say on this as a rental point of view. I don't seem there's any major changes are going to happen. There are perceptions might be likely to be happen. As long as Bangalore's are concerned, Hyderabad's are concerned, I've seen almost 30% growth in the rental last 2 years of time, especially these two cities where we are developing IT parks. So this is my view on this. Over to Manoj.
Yeah, thank you, Mahesh ji. Thank you, Mahesh ji, for your views. Of course, today is the time wherein none of us know what is in the future. Everybody is conjuring. Okay? So the only thing that is certain is that there is uncertainty. It's good to hear that while we all know that when such a massive catastrophe of sorts hits us, there is obviously bound to be a huge sort of a setback to the entire ecosystem of the business. Okay, so good to hear that you believe that things will recover over a period of time. Thank you very much for that. I have a question for you, RK. Considering the continued risk of contracting the virus and long-term vulnerability that we are sure to face, do you believe government will lay out any norms for all customers, officers, developers, operators? What's the broad direction you feel the government will like to take? We've been hearing about things like China is announcing certain stipulated norms as to how an office has to function. Do you see that happening in India, RK?
So office is an integral part of human life, adult life, who's employed. So office, construction site, workplaces, metros, everything will change. And I think it will change till the time we either eradicate, which is unlikely, or we learn to live with it without being overly unduly worried about it. For example, I don't know if you all will remember, before 9/11, I remember whenever I was in US and somebody would land, I'll go to receive him at the gate. The gate means he's just coming out of the plane and you just meet him there the moment he just exits from the aero bridge. Today, forget about going to the gate, you can't enter the airport. And that's a new normal, correct? Now, I think there'll be a new normal. There'll be new normal for air travel. There'll be new normal for public transport. My real worry is the economics of new normal. Now, metro we have discussed, each metro in Bangalore compartment will carry only 60 people. Now, which used to carry 180 to 200 to depending upon how bad it is. Delhi Metro is really wondering at 60 people traveling who's going to build the further metro, because the government has limited resources, because right now still metro was losing money with this kind of capacity. So we'll have the BMTC. I mean, Shikha is always like, sir, kaise karenge? I mean, we've got additional money for her to essentially get new buses. As I might have seen on the outer ring road, we are continuing with bus priority lane. But where are the buses? Where is the traffic? Correct? Now, yes, there will be a new norm, and it'll be told to the companies, and companies will obviously inform their own infrastructure staff, and then it'll come to the people who are providing the building, because certain things are still managed by the tech park owners and the building facility managers. And then people like Guru Raj will have to think out of the box. We saw Mr. Gupta giving a very exhaustive list. So to summarize, governments will give the basic guidelines. Of course, we have to be careful that government don't kill the business. I remember seeing things like somebody in Haryana saying that if any COVID patient is found in any factory, will arrest the owner. And of course, that's the job of people like us to make sure that those kind of draconian things don't get through. And also, you might have seen there are a lot of notices being sent by our folks here in Bangalore, and there were some changes made, in the labor department and things like that. See, it's very important, as our Prime Minister also said, that "Jaan hai to jahan hai" was the first slogan. Ab uske baad then "Jaan bhi jahan bhi." We got to live and have to have livelihood, both. So work, human cannot live without work, but it cannot work without living. So these are very important facts. So anybody should not have any impression that, as you know, I'm also an investor and I have invested in several companies and all that. And I see, and let me assure you, business will go as usual in a different form. Efficiency will initially come down, but then will become more efficient, by the way. When people go to office, they used to waste 4 hours in the traffic. Now people are finding, sir, we are much more productive sitting at home because we have emotional, security with our family. I'm not risking. I'm not stressed in the traffic. So I think my belief is that this COVID-19 could be a blessing in disguise. We might be able to fix, but let's not try to become normal. And normal was wrong. The normal which we had was not sustainable. Let's not try to go back to normal, that old normal. Let's create a new normal, which is more efficient, which is more productive, which is more environment friendly, and which is more human friendly. So that's my approach. And I think whatever is required, and this is very important, if any of you come up with ideas which you think government should be, by the government is not a person. It's a multi-pronged hydra which don't know which hand is doing what leg. The government is a very amorphous body. And you'll be shocked to know that what you think is the government is actually not the government. So there are push and pull from all sort of directions. So if you as industry come up with some ideas which you think are meaningful and government should be adopting as a policy, please do share. And then people like us will, hopefully try and convince the government to potentially do that. And so far it has been very, very useful. I mean, even every day we get, by the way, government is not all powerful. To be able to do this much of home quarantine, which was not allowed, and the institutional quarantine, if the industry did not support. I remember how the scrambling happened in the government. Now everybody, Bangalore is managing the best. Good thing about Bangalore specifically, as here governments are very proactive. They engage with people outside the government and actually listen. More and more states are doing that because COVID is such a big problem that they can't. So yes, to answer your question, yes, there will be changes.
Yeah. Thanks, RK, for your views. It's always interesting to know the views of people like you who work both with the industry as well as the government. For sure, there is nothing like the old normal has gone. That is for sure. And maybe we'll find a new normal, which is a better normal than what the old normal was. Typically, what happens in such situations when a person goes through adversities, human nature is such that you find ways, ingenious ways. We are intelligent people. We are very practical. We are very innovative. We find solutions to come out even better than what we were. Okay? So, and it's a situation wherein I think one very leveling factor is that everyone is thinking beyond oneself. Okay. So far, typically, each one thinks of his own cocoon, doesn't think beyond his cocoon. And I think I personally believe that COVID has taught us that, look, you are living in a world which is not just behind, it's much beyond you. I think that's a very healthy thing to see. Thank you, RK, for your views. Devendra ji, a quick question to you. Do you believe, I mean, you've been in the user side for a long time. What do you believe will be the work balance between work from home and work from office? Would there be a shift in the industry from a user perspective? What do you see as the impact there?
Yeah, definitely, because now this pandemic has, shown the way to all organizations. Like earlier, they did not do this experiment, but now forcefully they have, done this experiment now of people working from home, and they find, I have discussed with so many, corporates. So the feedback which we are getting is, they are saying, more or less it is, they are getting the productivity out of people working from home. So definitely, like TCS has already decided. Now Google, they have already announced that they will be working from home till December end. And again, Microsoft, they are saying that they will be working from home till July, and then they will see the situation arises. Depending on that, they will take decision. But definitely, this is going to be a new norm that, part of the workforce will be working from home. And definitely this will be helping, the organization as well as, so we say that, okay, maybe some part of infrastructure can get reduced in offices, but definitely there will be boost to the housing also, which I feel. Because when everybody, the part workforce working from home, definitely they would like to invest, on housing infra also. So that definitely there will be a shift.
Right, sir. Yeah, thank you, Devji. I mean, we obviously, a lot of people have been saying that work from home has worked in the last 45 days to 60 days. And if so, why not make people more secure and comfortable in working from their home? The other school of thought says that, the typical Indian discipline levels forbids people to be able to work effectively from home because, we tend to moonlight while the cat is not watching, okay, the mouse will play. So, but I think the right balance will find through, and possibly it will be a mix, much more important mix in the days to come, wherein work from home integrates into the work from office structure, and each company will find its own right balance. Before I open up to audience, my last question to Guru, to you. Guru, you've been in the cutting edge of technology in terms of infrastructure designs. Okay, what role do you see technology playing in terms of interior designs in the new COVID, in the new normal of what I call as post-COVID world?
Okay, Manoj, a big role actually. Technology plays an extremely big role. So what we did, Manoj, in this duration of 45 days, we did a survey actually to almost 18 companies. And we had put a sort of question from Spacemetrics side and asked them, what do you miss most about the office, right? So the top three that came up was, 84% said face-to-face interaction. Then ability to collaborate was the second thing. Third was my routine, as you mentioned, the discipline, right? Which is the third thing which they said. And fourth was ability to concentrate. So, if this is the new normal wherein we are saying initially 30%, then maybe 50%, we might achieve, say in future, around 70% of strength can occupy the space, and that's what we are saying, right? So if that's the thing, then the technology has to come in that, people will be able to work from anywhere and everywhere. That's very important. Then what would happen is, we as an architect, we feel that just designing the space, putting color, aesthetics is not the end. So what we did is we had to reboot ourselves, as I said, and retool ourselves to this change. We have come up with a platform called SpaceDX. It's a software, so it's an AI-based software. So what it does, this is something for existing office spaces. So what it does is it maps your entire layout of an office space, existing office space, and it actually detects the clash of the social distancing. wherein it says that, hey, so it is say if the distancing we are feeding of say 16 to 10 feet is the norms, what we are saying as per WHO. And if we feed in that, so immediately it highlights in red color all the clashes. Right, so that's one thing. So the technology will play a vital role of say that, wherein you're just not measuring the tape and you're saying this is an AI-based platform that can actually create and identify all the clashes. Now the next step is, once the clashes are detected, what's the resolution of the clashes? It actually even does that. So this is one small thing wherein we are saying that if you have existing office spaces, you see, one thing is that most of the CEOs, all your managers, everybody have to make your employee feel safe and valued. And this is the time you have to do it. But how do you do this, right? You do sanitize everything. But then I think the norms, millennials, Gen Z, everybody, they need proof, right? No more logical reasoning. They say, hey, how have you done this, right? So this is what we are thinking, that we have to retool ourselves. And as Mr. Akio was mentioning, we have to think out of the box to do these things. And then these are the platforms that we have to create on technology front. So we say that, no, this is now a COVID proof, and this is how the office space can be managed. But now the question comes, if the clash is happening so much that will the efficiency will come down, as Mr. Ketan was mentioning, now the efficiency of floor plate will come down. So then what happens? That's where the designer interface will come in for us. A designer comes in and he says, okay, what is your business type? Who are the users? The question is, so as a designer, we have to go beyond it and get into a cultural, behavioral things, everything of the company, and say, hey, these people of your department can work from home. These people from, would need a certain space in which they can work in one discussion room and they don't need a workstation. Few people, so this everything we have to put it as Mr. Devendra mentioned very clearly, it's going to be a short term and long term. And even we are also planning in the same way. In the short term, through this clash detection, we are proposing certain solutions, whether it is providing, screens, removing certain fabrics which are not actually recommended for for this disease or virus spreading. So we have to change certain surfaces. That's what is the short-term recommendation. The graphics, and the long-term solution, which we have to work with developer and clients both sides. Again, technology will play a very important role. That right from the drop-off. If I am I'm safe at my home, I know I've all the disciplines put in, but then he gets into the cab, he drops off. From drop-off point to my workstation, how is the entire campus that has been created for me? That's a touch-free, right? So then the technology comes in on the hardware too. The doors, what is there that opens for me? Do I need to touch those? You don't have to. Then once you get into the lift, there's a graphics that which we have seen everywhere. That there's a graphic how you have to face and stand. Touch-free, as Mr. Devendra mentioned, touch-free buttons. Then once you get into an office space, technology comes in wherein you can book your meeting room through you're already doing through your I think your laptops and other things, but then mobile app will become very norm in every office space now for an office space. So what will happen is you can control you book your meeting rooms. Then the next thing would be actually you book your food. Actually, that's really very important. So I think what the larger cafeterias which were there of 300-seater, 400-seater won't be the norm, won't be the normal thing at all. All those things will be converted into a small pantries of say 20 to 25 people. If you have your own, if you're getting your home food cooked, that's fine. Otherwise, through app you can actually order the food, and the food will be actually kept at that pantry. You can go eat it and then heat it in your microwave and go back to your desk. So technology will play a very vital role. And then actually there's no limit, I would say, in that front. It will keep on evolving, actually. I would say. Just one point I'd like to add is on the, so what we are saying is 5 points, actually. We need to see at the space, how much space and how, we are designing. So it has to be still efficient. Then the second thing would be the materiality. What exactly are the materials that people are going to touch and how that's going to come up? As I already mentioned, culture and behavior, technology. So these are, I think, four important points that will be coming, Manoj.
Right. Thank you, Guru. For sure, technology will be a very, very integral part people would look at, I mean, technology drives innovation in some form. And today the need of the hour is to think out of the box and look at ways and means of making our lives more risk mitigated in terms of COVID. And workspaces will go through a lot of transformation, I'm sure, with technology becoming an integral part, use of mobile apps, use of tabs, use of various other kinds of platforms. Thank you, Guru, for your words. We got a few questions. We got another 20 minutes to go through. So I'll just pick one by one question as we come by, and I'll ask one of the panelists to address them. Some of the questions have already been answered, so I'm skipping those which have not been which has not been answered so far in the address by some of the panelists. One question that I have is regarding staff transportation, and I would request Mahesh ji to take up this question. The question was from Mr. Vincent. Would companies be willing to invest into their own staff transportation to keep the control of the spread while people transport to and fro? How feasible would that be? Mr. Mahesh ji?
It's a good question, and it's a viable question basically at this point of time. How the transportation will take place. Earlier that most of the employees being transferred through the cabs, four employees in the one cabs and being transported to the sites. Today, one of the IT park, what we had planned basically is until unless right now, what are the government guideline which has been done right now, that maximum 2 employees can be just transferred through the one cabs or whatever like vehicle. That definitely will make sure which are the transportation which are coming in our park. Ensure that everybody must have the maintaining the social distancing within the cabs also, as well as some of like buses which are being transported in a park. Will ensure that again the minimum numbers of numbers has been seated in the buses, and those buses also has been entered within our premises. Will ensure those also to sanitizing those buses also as well as the vehicles. So, and even while parking in our basement, will ensure that those car parks are being parked. How even within the car also social distance are being maintained. We should not also be in touch to each and every car park. Yeah, for the timing, whatever like a mechanical car park being parked, multi-stage car parking, definitely we have to see that for the timing this issue continue, we have to keep avoiding those things, and we have to increase maximum to bring their own vehicles for the timing. As we are keep hearing right now, they might start with the 30% or 40% or 50%. So we definitely will have a surplus of car parking. So we have to maintain that right now. We have to avoid right now mechanical car parking at this junction. And similar way that as I mentioned before also, sanitizing is the most important part. We have to ensure that all the vehicles also has to be time to time has to be sanitized regularly and has to follow the clear guideline which are being given by our government. And as well as we are most of our clients today like Google, Apple, Microsoft, and most of other companies are our clients. So we are also getting some kind of suggestions from their end. So some of points has come like as we discussing while going on for the food courts and cafeteria, how to be maintained. We already Guru, whatever you mentioned, we already in practice that cafeteria is all over an app. You just place the order on app and your food will be ready. So instead of right now in our cafeteria, your food will be ready in your place. You come and pick on your desk or whatever some dedicated area which has been allotted to you. So these all guidelines already been given and we are being following those things. Yeah, there is especially your question is for transportation point of view. Still that what are general guideline which has come. In beyond of that, some definitely we expecting some more guideline will come. Might be likely with their own personal transportation. Only the person has to travel right now for the time being. Public transportation for the timing we may not be likely to allow within our premises to maintain the hygienic within our premises, and will ensure the person from which area is coming there, either he is coming from containment zone. Definitely we have to make sure that the person should have to take all preventive measures before just entering in our premises. So these are the points which we need to have take care of that.
Yeah, thank you, Maheshji. Vincent, I hope this answers your question. I'd like to just add a couple of points from my side. All office service providers, I mean, we have also in the same category actually, will ensure that adequate measures are taken to, I'm sure that will happen because without that you can't be in business, okay? Possibly it will bring in some concierge services, which will become more important as we go forward, which actually addresses this problem. Thank you, Vincent, for this question. There are about 3 or 4 people who have given a similar kind of question, so I'm not reading out 2 anonymous people and one Mr. Bob from Transcendex and Mr. from Genpact. I'm asking the question in my own way, and I would like Mr. Devendra to address this question. Basically, the question is that as an employer or a company owner or a company practitioner, when we get back to work, what are the aspects that the organizations keep in mind and formalizing protocols to inform the employees? What are the logistics issues? What are the considerations that a company who's getting back to work should keep in mind? Devendra ji, is my question clear?
Yeah, first and foremost thing is that the organization has to build the confidence among employees that whenever they are working back to office, I mean they are back to office, they will be safe and secure in the office environment, and they have to highlight all SOPs and communication, that what all the organization is going to do to safeguard their lives. So that is very, very important. And again, whatever measures I had discussed earlier in my earlier discussion, all those will be implemented, like proper sanitization of office, then modification of office, upgradation of office to take care of all these spread of pandemic. All these have to be taken care of. Then again, in the cafeteria, as other panelists have suggested, all these measures have to be taken. And again, Guru has in his design, I mean, he has covered very important things, like how the design will be for the new offices, or the modification of offices will be done by using their software. So that will also be very, very important, and each and every organization has to go for all these modifications.
Right. Thank you, Devji, for your views. I'm sure all organizations, as we are, I mean, sooner than later, all businesses will be back to work, and hopefully a day will come soon wherein we can say, yeah, the lockdown period that we went through is a days of the past. Okay? I'm sure all businesses are preparing to come to the situation, and each one will have to take their own precautions in terms of what are the do's and don'ts. And luckily, what has happened over the last 2 weeks or 2 months, in my view, is that so much of sensitization to the fact that every human being is under risk is understood by each and every human being. Okay? I think nobody wants to die. I mean, that's a fundamental truth in life. Okay, so I think fundamentally there'll be a lot of compliance, which otherwise normally us Indians are not very good at complying in terms of disciplinary standards. Okay, but I feel there'll be a lot of thought that will go in terms of what organizations will do, making the SOPs, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of compliance coming from the employees too. The next question I would like RK to take up. This is from Mansi Shah. I'd like to add a few words to the question. How will this affect our dependence on labor? I'm not too sure exactly what she means, but I feel she talking about labor and impacting construction workers in the real estate market, labor impacting the interiors in the real estate market, and I don't think she's talking about labor as employees. Okay. RK, you're on mute. RK, you're on mute. Yeah.
No, actually, I am not on mute.
Yeah. Now I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay.
That's fine.
So I think it's a very important and fundamental question, not primarily just from the business point of view. It's an important question from our nation's future point of view. Any country which has not been able to take care of its marginalized and made them the integral part of their economic growth model has not succeeded. So look at Southeast Asia, whether it's China. When China managed to bring 500 people from the villages to the city, and managed to give them a respectable life, the country became 6 times the size of India's economy. And that is the one thing which they did right. Same was the case with Vietnam early in 1960s. That was the case with Japan, and of course, these tiger economies of Taiwan, Singapore. So Asia has very clearly shows, because Asia I'm not talking about Europe, because Asia is a high population density continent. Now, India and South Asia per se has not been able to bring the lowest strata marginal sections of our society into the mainstream. So all of us are very rich from Indian standards, but that richness is not percolated, and I'm not expecting government to be giving doles to them. Now coming to her specific question to Mansi, if we are not able to, I'll answer the other way. If you're not able to take care of our migrant labor, I don't think our industries will survive. And if our industries don't survive, our economies will not survive. And I'll give you some very specific example. What happened in Bangalore? By the way, in democracy, the good thing about democracy, you can't hold anybody against his will. When our government, for whatever reason, and I think that was a very bad PR, when CREDAI people met them and then suddenly they decided they will cancel the train, was a disaster decision, both from the morality point of view, from ethics point of view, from democracy point of view, and from pure law point of view. You cannot hold people against their will if they don't want to stay. And let me tell you, as you rightly said, nobody wants to die. If somebody sitting in a Gorakhpur or in Munger is telling you, please come home, we'll have one roti, we'll share. But if you stay in Bangalore, you are going to die, because the moment it opens, there'll be corona everywhere. By the way, those are not very smart or knowledgeable people. They are running by rumors. And the rumor currently is staying in cities means death. It'll take 2 years, by the way. So I think all of you should understand, because I'm hearing this from everybody. They're saying if you stay in big city, you will die. And there's not enough hospital for rich people, you will certainly not get hospital. So forget about work, you come home, you'll go hungry, but you'll live. And government is giving money. Now, unless you give, I know a lot of good, actually Bangalore has been very good. I spoke with a lot of builder friends, big ones. They all took care of their employees. But let me tell you, one builder who is in Hebal area, by one of the political parties, they're managing 3,000 labor in labor camps, giving them food and everything. And as Mr. Khaitan also said, they were taking good care. But then suddenly a politician comes and says, listen, my party will pay you the money to go home. And those guys came on the road and said, I want to go home. Now that guy was playing politics, because this party is not doing anything for you. They are like even forcing, my party will give you money. Of course, the money didn't come, but these guys got restless. 3,000 people on the roads, and then a police has to be called and all that. So if you don't give the confidence, how China survived, and it's very important, just 2 minutes. It looks a little inhuman. China created, every factory has housing along with the factory. These are dormitories which are basic, but they're decent. Now for the builder community to be able to provide a decent housing for the labor is the easiest thing, because you have such big land. And they are there only while you are constructing, so half of the land is available. Instead of creating shanty towns just at the boundary of your project, why can't you create maybe container based, just buy old containers, hundreds of them, and create nice, like you make for your office. Why can't be dormitories in those containers? Correct? Or create some other form of, I think, you are interior designer, Gurrat, think about something like this also. Tell your industry friends. I mean, Bangalore is very well respected across the country when it comes to, none of our builders have gone to jail because they defrauded their clients, unlike what happened in Delhi. Correct? NBCC did not have to take over the builders and put the builders in jail and do the projects. We have done a fantastic job. Let Bangalore lead, and let me tell you, if you lead, Bangalore leads, people like us will make sure the other places also follow. Correct? Please take care of your labor. Without labor, you will not survive. And without your survival, economy will not survive. So it's in our simple, selfish business interest that take care of the labor. You know how to do it. I don't have to tell you. But yes, to answer your question, see, if you don't have carpenters from Rajasthan, correct? If you don't have security guards from Odisha and this thing, it will not run. The economy will not run. There are not enough people. Even if everybody in Karnataka wants to work, They're not enough. So migratory labor is a way of life, is law of nature. It's been there for zillions of years and will remain like that. So please follow that. Do it right. That's like a long answer to a short question.
Yeah, thank you, RK. Really appreciate your views. Yeah, I think there is one state, a state I come from, which give it a very nice name. They don't call them migrant laborers; they call them guest laborers. And I think that's a very fundamental. There's it touches sensitivity. But they are migrant because they're coming from other parts of the country. But we are one India, so it's like, why should we call
Yes,
call a person nice. From outside the state a migrant? I mean. So Kerala has actually gone on record of having said they are taking care of the guest laborers, not the migrant laborers. It may be a good clue, good clue for us to take from that leaf and implement it in our own lives too. Thank you, RK. Of course, they are very, very integral part of the whole society and social fabric, because workers are the ones who actually determine how the economy can be built up. I hope that answers your question. I have there's one anonymous question to
Manoj, just quick one on the housekeeping. I have another call at 12:45 and I need 15 minutes in between for lunch. So I'll leave exactly at 12:30.
Sure, we will try to wind up with one more last call. Okay, one more last question. RK, just hang on for a little while. Maybe Guru can complete it a little quickly. The question from an anonymous person is that since in the office spaces your square feet per person is likely to go up, do you feel there's a balancing factor that will come from cost of interiors per square feet reducing or increasing to balance this off from a total interiors costing?
Okay, on the cost front, how it will work is most of the spaces that what we are going to design has to be a multiple work scenario spaces. So now, though it was always a collaborative workspace what we are defining, but it will go much beyond what we are saying. So there'll be a different setup of workspaces within a work area is what you will have. Maybe less of enclosed rooms. Still, wherein certain privacy screens can be pulled in to create a room. That's certain investment. That's a new investment that they have to do. But then on the expenditure wise, the cost on the interiors will still might come a little, less what was happening, but the costing on the technology will go high. There will be more investment. Okay, yes, you have to invest on all AV capability, video conferencing, every rooms, or even you might say that there is a desk of 10 people who they can sit, but and then there is a virtual team of 10 more people working from home, but they have to work at same time. So for that, you have to keep a screen ready for them. So what is going to happen is either the spend on the interiors might remain same or go a little less, I would say, but the expenditure on the technology front is going to be one round up. I would say it might almost go up to 100% what they were investing earlier, and then one more expenditure what will come on the wellness of the employee. So the wellness of the employee, with whoever is going to come, as I mentioned earlier, they have to feel safe and valued. So all these facility things, whatever Mr. Devendra mentioned, everything has to come in there, and there will be a separate operational budget for that that's going to come. So what I see, yes, we have to work in a very stringent budget going forward. We have to identify what's must to have, what's nice to have with the client, and then put a solution. So that's the way I think if I put it short, Manoj.
Thank you, Guru. Since RK has got to leave, I will like to wind up. RK, just give me a couple of minutes more. Okay?
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for all of you being there. I'm very indeed pleased to report to you that at peak we had about 328 attendees. Right now there are a little few who have logged out, which is fine, part and parcel of any webinar. Okay. Just a couple of things from my side. These are troubled times. Okay. And I'd like to conclude this webinar with a little anecdote which I've heard in my life long back as a student. There was the story of a king and a farmer. The king it was a very successful kingdom, very, very prosperous, economically viable. All the people are happy, etc., etc. People were very happy with the king. So the king actually once wanted to know how good are his subjects. So he did a very simple exercise. He at night, in the middle of the night, he put a chadar over his head, covered himself, and went out of the palace and to see how the people are. And he found that everybody's happy. But to test them, he goes to the main choraha, know what I mean? Chauraha is Bangalore's Inji Road, Brigade Road junction, for example, of the kingdom, and goes and puts a massive boulder right in the middle of the junction, which will obviously inconvenience everybody. The whole kingdom gets suffering. So just to see, and then he goes to a corner and hides and sees how do the subjects react to the situation. So throughout the day he sees, and there are some aristocrats, ministers, businessmen, all kinds of people who come by. They go past the boulder. Nobody does anything about it. It's right. And some of them curse the king. Say, what kind of a king do we have? I mean, we have such a wonderfully prosperous kingdom. But this king can't take off these basic rights. I mean, it's his job to keep this place comfortable for all of us. So this goes on till the end of the day. He's very disappointed actually. Till a poor farmer coming back from the from his farm with a lot of his today's collection of the tough grains and stuff that he's bought on top of his head. He comes to that boulder and he says, "Hey, listen, this is going to be inconveniencing a lot of people. Let me try and do something about it." Okay? So he puts his that big things that he's carrying on his head on the corner, and then he tries to push the boulder. He pushes it. He pushes hard. I mean, he tries very hard, but I mean, it's a very, very big boulder. But he doesn't give up. He keeps on trying, and finally, with a lot of effort, he manages to put the boulder and move to the corner, moved away from the middle of the Chauraha to a corner of the Chauraha. So at least the bottleneck is sort of opened up. Okay? So people can travel by and stuff like that. He comes back to pick up his grains. He finds there's a little packet kept there, right under where the boulder was. Okay? And he opens it. He sees a lot of money, a lot of gold coins, and a small little note from the king saying, "Yes, this was meant for you as a gift for having done what you did, what so many before you chose not to do." Right? So life is like that. It throws, and in my view, COVID-19 is like that. It throws a challenge at you. It's up to you whether you view the challenge like a challenge or like an opportunity. If you view the things like various aristocrats and businessmen and other people who went by and look at a problem and push it aside, you are the loser. Of course, if you are more like the poor farmer, look at it like a challenge and say, "Hey, listen, this challenge can be converted to an opportunity," then chances are you will succeed, you will be the winner, you will be the one who will be better off and get the gift that the king had meant for. It's for each one of us to choose whether you see a challenge like a problem or an opportunity. In fact, today the whole nation is in doldrums. In my view, together, if we hold each other's hands, we can surely swim to the shore for a very successful tomorrow. I'm sure this is all possible because, like the famous saying, when the going gets tough, it's only the tough who get going. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I would like to once again place on record my our appreciation on behalf of Novel Group as well as Space Metrics. Words fail me in appreciating the time and valued inputs of the panelists. Thank you, Mahesh ji. Thank you, RK. Thank you, Devendra ji, and thank you, Guru. Thanks to all the participants. Without your presence, this would have not been a success at all. We have had a great registration. This motivates us to do more such initiatives in the days to come. Please feel free to share your feedback on via WhatsApp or emails as you deem fit. As we know, the traditional handshake way of greeting is no longer a normal. While we meet now, we will do traditional Indian namaste. So till we come back for further webinars, allow me to close the session with a traditional Indian Shukriya, Indian Karam, Indian Mehrbani, and an even more Bengalurian Nama Bangalore Namaskara. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Signing off with you, Manoj Nair from Novel Office. Thanks to everybody.
Thank you, Manoj. Thank you, RK. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Best wishes to all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay safe. Thank you. Thanks, Manoj.
Thank you.